and then read a statement and then go into the questions because we want to be efficient with the class. So, Taiwei, Taireiku, good day, in the language of my Taino Arawak ancestors. My name is Joel Rosario Tapia. I'm also known as Chief Turegua as an author, or Turegua Taino Kai, Cacique Turegua Taino Kai. I am Cacique of the Sibuko Bayamon Taino, a pre-colonial nation tracing its roots back to the time of our Arawak ancestors. I'd like to first thank y'all, of course, for being here. This is a great opportunity. I take it as an honor to be able to speak to our generations of youth who need to understand the true history of our ancestors and of this country and of the Americas. I am a servant of my ancestors. I am a servant of my people. Yo sanaboria daka upia, yo sanaboria daka ari, which means I am a servant of my ancestors. I am a servant of my people. I like to acknowledge the land of the Algonquin speaking peoples, the people that inhabited the lands referred to as Massachusetts, which is the Great Hill or the Great Hilled Place. We're talking about folks that you will study soon under names like Wampanoag, under names like Pokanoket, under names like Matakisit. So we want to make sure we acknowledge that we are talking on the Eastern Seaboard. You all are in Massachusetts. I am in Rhode Island, New England. This is the land of the Algonquin-speaking peoples who still inhabit these lands and are your neighbors. And it's great for you to know that because we haven't been able to talk about this for many, many years. So first thing I'm going to do, in addition to this, is read the introduction from my presentation, Phenotypes in the Spanish Caste System, to get y'all up to speed with me. Many years ago, I began a personal voyage of discovery and a search for purpose and knowledge of my history and my family's history. This adventure brought me to many life-changing, paradigm-shifting, and mentally and emotionally upsetting revelations. In my search for meaning to these experiences and discoveries, I find myself redefining how I viewed, there it goes. I found myself redefining how I viewed myself and what I believed in context to the knowledge I had gained about my phenotypical characteristics, my racial classification, and what it meant to be Puerto Rican Taino descendants. I recognize that there are many like me who have grown up in a country where culture clashes, racial profiling, racial classification, and judgment severely limit and affect how one interacts and moves within the levels of society. These factors affect how one views himself and the love for oneself and one's culture. The love of self, or lack thereof, affects whether a person can feel love for others. It can even determine whether a person can feel hope and faith or disenfranchised in a system which does not reflect one's values or one's image. I present this presentation lecture in an effort based in love. Love for oneself, love for one's history, love for one's ancestors. And in their memory and in their honor, I say, Taino ti, which means good to you, good be unto you. So yes, I'll take, I would like to make this a little bit interactive. I have a list of questions that you all had presented me with. But first, I'd like to draw the parallels between what you're going to learn today and what you may have learned. So I understand you were learning about Brazil. What's the last unit you were all learning about?
What did we learn about the sleep?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything. So if you'd like to relay that, I would.
They said Aztec and Inca.
Okay, Aztec and Inca. So what you're learning about is colonization, and colonization kind of in a reverse order. Do you know the first place to be colonized in this, quote, new world was the Caribbean? So we're talking about the islands of the Caribbean, the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles, meeting with the first people, the true First Nation, first people to encounter Europeans or foreigners from the other hemisphere. So we're talking about the Taino people. And we underwent something that I can draw back to a term that I think y'all should have learned called Cuñedismo. Cuñedismo. Does that sound familiar to anyone? I'd like to show of hands if it does or something, because I can't really hear y'all. Did y'all hear about that? Okay, so Cuñedismo was a practice of intermarriage in Brazil. The practice of intermarriage, where foreigners would marry one wife or multiple wives and breed the first generation of mixed race, mixed class individuals, which, depending on how they phenotypically look, turned out to be either accepted by the dominant class or enslaved within something called castes. The caste system comes from, originally from the Moors in Europe, many will say the Arabs or the Muslims, which ran Europe for 800 years, but they broke people